What are you doing? Look, I appreciate that Godzilla King of the Monsters just came out and you're excited, but we can't get carried away. That said, what we can do is use this as an excuse to play some obscure Dreamcast games.
Ah yes, Godzilla. Or should I say Gojira. He's been in over 35 films, 10 TV shows, and a handful of video games. And he's still going strong. Outside of Hello Kitty and Pikachu, it's fair to say that the colossal beast is probably Japan's most recognized pop culture export.
Yet, despite this international fan base, there are several bits of media that never left Japan, such as this game right here, Godzilla Generations, for the darling of my game room, the SEGA Dreamcast.
So if you want to use this game on, say, I don't know, native American Dreamcast hardware, you're going to need to mod your system. Or as an alternative, if you're a total nerd like me, and you have, say, a Dreamcast collection full of weird little oddities such as a certain GameShark disc, you can use it to accidentally unblock the system's region decoder, and kaboom, there we go, Japanese games running natively on American hardware. Right, to business. First impressions, based off this opening cinematic, are not good. Why is it so dark? Is it my hardware? If it is, then why is the menu fine? I don't know. Well, in good news, off the bat, we have a choice of playing between Godzilla or the classic era design of Mechagodzilla.
Advice for life, kids. Always be yourself. Unless you can be a robot version of yourself that can shoot laser beams and missiles. Then be the robot version of yourself that can shoot, laser beams and missiles. That's pretty pimpin'.
I'm feeling ready. Let's jump right into it. I wanna... Oh no. What is this camera? Is this for real? Oh, Jesus H. Christ, this is for real. Okay then, yikes. To make this camera situation worse, the game also utilizes the terror of the 5th console generation, tank controls.
I do want to reiterate that this game never left Japan. While at the time Sega's uncertain future may have held a few games back from getting a Western release, I get the feeling this one got held back in the East due to quality control issues.
The basic gist of the game is that you go from location to location across Japan and, well, you destroy cities. That's it. Seriously, I'm not kidding. You have a set time, usually about 10 minutes or so per stage, and you go to work. To break up the monotony, you also have to deal with the military, but they don't pose much of a challenge. Simply walk over the ground forces, or use Mechagodzilla's shield attack to wipe out the Air Force. The only ones that pose a threat are the Super X family of vehicles, but as I shall now demonstrate... they aren't really much of a match for you.
Also, I have this weird feeling that I've played this game before.
Did you think I was shortchanging you or something? That's it! Seriously, there is no more to this game. There's no fights with other monsters from the series, no plot, it's just you as the biggest boy stomping around with awful controls and a camera right out of the Spencer Mansion. And it's not even got the grace of being a somewhat short game either. Every level is on a stupidly long timer, and there's no way to make the stage go by faster. So, inevitably, you end up spending a lot of time just, well, waiting. And waiting. And waiting, Jesus Christ. After you beat the game once, you unlock the OG Godzilla from the 1954 film, which, while cool, isn't really worth the 2 and a bit solid hours it takes to do a single arcade run. After him, you can unlock Zilla from the 1998 Emmerich film and Minilla, the son of Godzilla. But as you can see from this properly credited footage, I am not patient enough to sit through more of this garbage to unlock them. So, yeah.
There's also a VMU minigame, but for whatever reason, I can't get it to work. Maybe it's because I'm using an American system? But if that's the case, then why am I able to get the game to save just fine?
Clearly, this game is a terrible waste of potential that bored me senseless. However, as it turns out, 1 year later came a follow-up, Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact.
And I must say, first impressions are rather good, thanks to this very fancy and shiny box art. Hopefully the improvements carry over into the gameplay.
Well, the title screen gives me hope, and the game... what is this exactly? Why did it not let me pick a character? Oh, Jesus Christ, why is Godzilla just charging forward?
It's a totally different game. Like, name aside, this has nothing to do with Generations.
So the way this one works is deceptively simple. You press A, tag enemies, and then let them have it with the atomic breath. And that's it for gameplay. Well, sort of. Unlike the first game, this one does break up the Prefecture havoc with monster fights. And in these fights, the controls go completely balmy. In the urban levels, like I said, you just simply walk in a straight line, paint targets, and every now and then steer just a little bit to stay out of direct harm. In the battles though, like this first one with Biollante, it's a total crapshoot. Suddenly you can reverse, you can sidestep, and now you can fire your breath with minimum charge.
And do you think the game tells you any of this? No, of course it doesn't. It just drops you right in. To be fair, if it did, the game is in Japanese and, I don't speak the language, but, I'd have probably been able to get the gist of it.
Biollante at first is a bit of a pain in the neck. Or should I say pain in the hand? It's so jarring switching control schemes. And yeah, of course, you're probably sick to death of me saying it, but naturally, the controls suck. The Dreamcast controller is infamously not great, and here, one of its biggest flaws comes rising to the surface: the single analog stick. It's not only how you move Godzilla, but it's also how you aim the atomic breath, which makes this a complete and utter mess. If it wasn't for lock-on targeting, this game would be nigh on unplayable.
And even with the game aiming for you, it still manages to be a complete pig to maneuver.
Lowering the game's difficulty doesn't make matters much easier. Sure, you get hurt less, but these controls are the worst enemy of all. Well, maybe that and the fact that this game is pitch black. This time I know it's not my hardware. Many boss kaiju sneak in and out of the shadows, hiding on the edge of the barely visible. All this does is waste time in what is, surprisingly, a very short game. While Generations took forever just to do one character's run, this game has, well, only one character to play as. And when you beat it as Godzilla in about, an hour and a half, that's it. There's no extras, no unlockable characters, nothing. Even the first game had a little bonus theatre mode to watch trailers in, and of course the forever unwelcome Zilla, but hey, it was better than nothing.
I still can't shake the feeling that I've played Generations before. Like, maybe 3 years or so ago into the past, on a modern system such as the PlayStation 4.
And yeah, that's because I did. The first Generations game, now I think about it, bears a striking resemblance to this, Godzilla PS4. I did a video on this in 2016, and looking back at this game, truth be told, for as bad as its issues with padding are, it's secretly just a little bit fun. Well, at least it is compared to these two forgotten relics of Sega's past. If you need a Godzilla fix on a home console, go for this instead. You get all the destruction you want, you get all the monster fights that of course aren't a crapshoot, and best of all, the controls aren't complete garbage. Sure, they're definitely not perfect since they're somewhat tankish with LNR steering Godzilla, but it sure as hell beats whatever this is.
All in all, end of the day, I've played worse. You know, this is not the worst couple of games I've played on this channel. It's not even the worst Dreamcast game I've played on this channel. I mean, that's still gonna go to the Ring Terrors realm. Like, that is an awful, awful game. There's just too many quality of life issues, too many problems for me to recommend you to import these titles. Now then, are you happy now? Are you good? Are you calmed down? We agreed that we didn't need to go over the— Oh, Jesus Christ!